Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you've all recovered from last night. Happy New Year, everybody. It is the 1st of January. And as much as I thought I wasn't going to get it today, because it is the 1st of January and every shop's closed, luckily for me, it arrived yesterday. So we have Combat Patrol issue 17 today. So we get to go through it. Today is more Termagaunts. And as we figured out last time, you don't get the bases with the first issue, you get the bases with the second issue. So today we get sprues. There are lots of sprues, which is good. But we just have to wait till next week to put them together. So I'll start with the noisy bit, and it helps to actually add stuff to the actual screen so you can see me, doesn't it? It would help. It would help. So let's bring me up, shall we? And see if you can put me up on the screen, which would be nice. Hello. I'm there now. Hello. Nice to see you all this morning. So yes, we have issue 17, which is more Termagaunts, which we were expecting for this issue. So noisy part, opening up. Oh, pardon me. So it'll be the same two sprues we got last time, which will have rippers. So both bases of rippers on. So if you have spare bases for the rippers, you can do both of those already. And it's got most of the actual gaunts on it. So if you do have spare bases, you can put the majority of these together, which is fun. Which means it is possible to do. It is definitely possible to do. So now that we've got the sprues, which we're going to have to leave until next week. I'm never happy about leaving sprues alone, you know, once I've got them. I'm never happy about it. Pardon me. So we have issue 17 this week. First founding chapters. I'm assuming that's Leviathan. It's talking about when it says Leviathan down there is the High Fleet. And then it's going to tell us how to use command points, which he's not gone through yet with us. He's not gone through command points. Let's see. Our desk is still a little bit of a mess following the Christmas fallout, so please excuse me. Yeah, I know it's a mess always anyway, but it's a mess even more so than usual. As usual, it'll go through the how to build, which we will need next week. So it'll give us all the bases we do. And Termagaunts are easy. They are literally follow the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, done. 5, 6, 7, 8, done. It's going little packs of 4 all the way up until you've done all 10. So I think it ends up somewhere in about 44 pieces. Yeah. So 41, 42, 43, and 44 make up the Ripper Swan base. So from 1 to 40 will make up the Termagaunts as we've done before. We'll cover that next week. We have a lot of reading on this one. And I'm going to go through the summary section here, which is Life in the Imperium, Death in the Imperium, First Founding Chapters, High Fleet Adaptations, and Tools of War. That's a lot of lore going on in this one video. Good morning, good evening, even Twisted. Happy New Year to you, man. Happy New Year. I hope you didn't get too drunk. You didn't get too out of it last night. I know I didn't, but I've definitely slept in a little bit. Done my usual for Combat Patrol days. I've woke up. I've come down and I've started the video. Wonderful for me, isn't it? So in this one, life and death are going to be very story based. So if you do wish to read through the whole little story down here, that is fine. I'll just read through the small section at the top to give you a slight taster. So life in the Imperium is a miserable ordeal, from the lowliest dregs who work to death in the backbreaking labour, to nobles and lords caught in endless intrigues. None can escape the Imperium's cruelty. True happiness stems only from duty. And they're taking that quite literally, because every bit of everybody gets used for work. The Imperium's not a nice place to live. I can think of a lot better places to live. Death in the Imperium, however, death is not the end in the Imperium, only when the very last use of being has been squeezed from the subject's remains to service end. And they mean that literally. If you are dead, they will take your skull and turn it into a servo skull, or take your corpse and make it into a servitor, or your body will adorn somebody's armor, or be decoration. If you were good enough, you would become decoration rather than a functional tool. What a joy to look forward to, eh? So you took it easy then last night, did you, Twisted? I can't complain, because I did the same thing. I took it very easy last night. I actually got to use the cats for Dungeons and Dragons. Sadly enough, the cats died. Apparently putting up against bug alien monster creatures is not a good idea. It wasn't that bad. They did well. They took out 3 of the little monsters and nearly finished the final battle. Nearly. Not too far off, though. Now, next, we've done the life and death in the Imperium. Life's not nice. Death's not nice. Figured that out. Nothing's nice in the Imperium. Unless you're an orc, then everything's just a party. Next, we have the first founding chapters. Now, chapters, there are a lot of chapters in Space Marines. Now, he's going to tell us here. I'll cover the first part. There are hundreds of Space Marine chapters, but all of them can trace their lineage to the original legions. From Ultramarines to Dark Angels, these first founding chapters are legendary. Now, there are 9 Loyalist first founding chapters. As mentioned 2 there, the Ultramarines, the Dark Angels, then you've got the Raven Guard, the Imperial Fists, the Iron Hands, Space Wolves, the Blood Angels, Salamanders, and who am I missing? Iron Hands, Ultramarines, Salamanders. White Scars. That was the other one. White Scars. Yeah. I would agree with you on that, Twisted, except the bugs in question this time were these. And the final battle consisted of 3 of these. And one of, if I can find a little later, and one of these. So this was the big bad for the one shot. They got all the way to him, but obviously having an improvised stat line, he had a whip reach, so he could swing and reach you at 10-foot range, and he also had a psychic blast. Only 2 moves, but they were sufficient enough to cause trouble for 2 players. So yes, we have all 9 founding legions, which then break down into chapters. Now, every one of them has had chapters. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of chapters. Far too many for me to go through. Here's me struggling to remember. Do you want what's on the next page? The 9 founding legions. So as I said, Dark Angels, White Scars, Space Wolves, Imperial Fists, Blood Angels, Iron Hands, Ultramarines, Salamanders, and Raven Guard. Those are the 9 founding Loyalist chapters. There are another 9 traitor chapters which run through Chaos. We'll touch on them when we start collecting Chaos, which should hopefully be soon. Next up is the Hive Fleets, which is kind of similar to the Space Marine chapters, basically which colour scheme you're going to use, which set of rules you're going to use. Good morning, Ellie. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I hope you had a good one last night, and I hope you're not hungover today. I do. There is such thing as a small amount of whiskey, Ali. It is a quadruple shot. And that's a small amount of whiskey. Just in one glass, just one. Like four shots in one glass, and it's done. One small whiskey. But this is a small brew. Half a litre. So, onto the hive fleets. The Tyranids are as varied as they are deadly. Each tendril of the hive fleet boasts specialized adaptations. It seems as if the galaxy is naught but a vast proving ground for the Tyranids to test their might and create deadlier and deadlier war organisms. I don't know all the hive fleets, so I'm going to have to read them. Hive Fleet Leviathan, which is the one that came this year, this box set, which is why we end up with the box set of Leviathan, is the newest one. That one, I believe, has gone all the way around, come underneath and come back around where near Earth is. We have Hive Fleet Behemoth, which is the reddy blue colour schemes. It doesn't actually tell me where they are coming from. It just tells you they've been attacking the Imperium for many, many years. Happy New Year from Alan. I don't know if you heard her say it, but she did say Happy New Year back. Then we have Hive Fleet Hydra, which is very similar to Hive Fleet Leviathan in colour scheme, at least. I don't know if it plays the same. Hive Fleet Kronos, which is fleshy colours with more red armour. Bring it down into here. And then, again, it seems like these blue claw things coming off. Hive Fleet Kraken, which is one of the first, as far as I'm aware, one of the first ones to actually come through. Basic bone skin colour with a burgundy red shitting armour. And you've got Hive Fleet Jormungandr. I've never even heard of this one. This is one that I've never even heard of. And Twisted says hello as well. So Jormungandr, it seems to be very grey in the skin tones. Quite a bright yellow in the chitin armour. And again, it's gone for red weapons, same as Kraken. So there are variants that you can do. Obviously, mine is none of them. Mine is my own. So that's why it's purple, yellow, and green. Okay, now we're actually getting onto the playing rules section. So we're going on to the command phase. Hydra. I don't know what colours are Hive Fleet Hydra, Twisted. I'm not sure what colours. What's the three base colours for Hive Fleet Hydra? Because that wasn't listed in here. No listed of Hydra in here. Which is a shame. I would have liked to know what Hydra was. So onto the playing section, and it's going to tell us what command points and stratagems are. So the right gambit at the right time can change the course of an entire battle. This is represented in Warhammer 40,000 by command points and stratagems. The first is a special resource you generate each turn, which can be spent to activate the second. Tactical ploys, tricks, special maneuvers with power at full attacks. Command points, referred to as CP, are vital resources spent to use stratagems. At the beginning of each command phase, yours and your opponent, so it happens twice per turn, you generate a single command point. You hold on to your command points until they are spent. So in each command phase, it says that both players will receive a command point. So if you want to use 2 command points, you've got to wait till the second player's command phase. Isn't that fun? You gain command points at the beginning of the turn before anything else happens. These tokens provided below, which they have, give us some nice tokens to cut out if we wish. Use a dice if you want, or any kind of marking will work. Use the tokens provided below or a notebook to keep track of your command points. Try to spend your command points regularly. It's better to spend them early than save them and never use them. Kind of true, but if you've got a strategy in mind that requires you to save a couple for turn 3, then save a couple for turn 3. Okay, stratagem breakdown. In future issues, you will receive more stratagems, including special stratagems that can only be used by specific factions. The rules for each stratagem will tell you when you can use that stratagem, what it can target if relevant, and what the effects of the stratagem are. For example, the command reroll can be used after you have made a certain types of rolls, and it lets you attempt that roll again. Many stratagems, such as this one, can be used in your opponent's turn, not just your own. So a command reroll is pay 1 CP and you get to reroll, let's see, when you can use in any phase, just after you have made a hit roll, a wound roll, a damage roll, a saving throw, an advanced roll, a charge roll, a desperate escape test, a hazardous test, or you have just rolled the dice to determine the number of attacks with a weapon. So it's a lot you can do with it. A command reroll, there's a lot you can reroll with it. But you spend 1 CP, you reroll the dice that you don't like the number on, and you have to settle with the second number, I'm afraid. If you don't settle with that second number, you don't get a chance. You can't reroll a reroll dice unless it's cocked. But that's a house rule anyway. So it's going to run us through the command reroll again. Example number 1 is going to be a save reroll. So a command reroll is a great rerolling for rerolling save rolls. For example, the captain is on the verge of being slain. If he fails his save roll, and so the Space Marine player spends a command point to reroll it, the second save roll is a success. So he rolls a 1 on Terminator armor, which on a 2+ save is not good. It's the only way you can fail. Spends a CP, rerolls it, gets a 4, which is obviously a save. So he manages to survive through to the next round. Okay, example 2, they're going to use it for a charge. Oh, sorry. Just before we get to the charge, we've now found out what Hydra's colour scheme is going to be. So it's going to be black claws and chitin armor, blue and violet skin with lavender highlights. Oh, okay. So it's going for a general, quite a toned-in set of colours. They're not really bold and brown, standing out against each other. They all merge in quite well. That sounds quite a nice colour scheme, actually. It will. You're right. All the black and dark purples will give a good contrast for your OSL effects if you do them. Obviously, no one's telling you have to, but you're getting better at them, so why not? I will be looking forward to seeing those pop up in the work in progress section of the Discord. They sound like fun. They also sound like they're going to be better than mine. Okay, so example 2 for the command points and how to use a command reroll. This time we're going to do a charge roll. So long charges are less likely to succeed, but certain units, such as the Tyranny Prime, want to be in combat as soon as possible. By using a command reroll to reroll the charge distance, you have a greater chance of success. Well, that kind of makes sense. So he first rolls it, then he rolls a 2, a 6, which equals an 8. He needs a 9-inch charge to get there. He spends a CP, re-rolls the dice. Now, looking up here, he's had to re-roll both dice. It's not just one. You don't get to re-roll just the 2 and keep the 6. You re-roll both dice. And he got a 5 and a 6 this time, making an 11. So he makes his charge. Very useful command reroll. Probably the most useful stratagem in all of them, to be quite honest. Others do get nice, useful stratagems, like Armor of Contempt, which makes it difficult to hurt Space Marines. Others get equivalents. But the command reroll, universal for everybody, and really, really useful. So scenario 3. I've not been running through the battles, as I've said, because of space. I do talk through the battles though, because I've had enough. I can do a rough idea of how it's going to work out. So bring it down is the mission for this week. The Space Marine Librarian has been ambushed by a psychophage. Oh dear. He's going to get jumped. With his squad down, he must hold out before a relief force can help him. But the Tyranids have reinforcements of their own on the way. A ferocious battle breaks out for both territory and survival. In this mission, you must use the command reroll strategy for the first time. Remember to generate command points at the beginning of each player's turn and use the stratagem. So it's trying to make sure that you do use the command reroll this one. Okay, so the two sides are laid out. We start out with the Librarian and the Psychophage in the center of the table, facing each other in the ring of scenery cards that we got given a couple of issues ago. The rest of the scenery cards are spaced through the center line, but at the edges. Okay, we have a 3-inch deployment for Space Marines down one side, 3-inch deployment zone for Tyranids down the other, and each one of those has an objective in. So objective 1 is in the Space Marine deployment zone. Objective 2 and 3 are on the halfway lines at the top and bottom. And objective 4 is in the Tyranid deployment zone. Space Marines get to take the captain in Terminator armor, 5 Infernus Marines, so they get to take the full unit of Infernus Marines this time. 5 Terminators, so again the full unit of those, including the assault cannon, which will be nice. And obviously the Librarian, which is in the center of the table already. The Tyranids get to take the Psychophage, which again is already in the center of the table. The Tyranid Prime, full unit of 10 Termagaunts, which are not the ones we got with this issue, the ones we got beforehand. It does actually look like quite a nice little game, doesn't it? I might have to give it a go, but that means I've got to try and find somewhere with room. I'm struggling to find room to put this out properly without taking over the entire house over Christmas. But yeah, 10 Termagaunts, 3 Von Ryan's Leapers, so full unit again, and a full unit of 5 Termagaunts. So you're taking pretty much the full combat patrols and a bit extra in this battle. So it's... Yeah, the Psychophage should kill the Librarian, but then everything else should get minced up by the Terminators, in fairness. You're going to have to play to find out if that's what happens to you, but that's what I think is going to happen. In this mission, you score victory points as follows. 5 for controlling 1 objective, 5 for controlling 2 objectives, and 5 for controlling more objectives than your opponent. So it's the usual way. The maximum you can score is 15 in 1 round, and the easiest ones to get is 10. Control 1 and 2. And then even if your opponent controls the other 2, you're still getting 10 victory points each time. You just got to take one of them off your opponent, or hope he's not scoring this one when you score that. Score the 15. How quick it's going to be twisted is a different matter. So, in turn order, it's saying the Tyranids swarm into battle, goaded on by the psychic oversight of the Tyranid Prime. It appears to have identified saving the Psychophage as priority, not out of any sense of camaraderie or honor, but through ruthless logic. Such a creature is a vital tool and must not be wasted. So the Tyranids start first. First, both players generate a command point. Take a battle shock test if you have any units below half strength. Obviously, this is going on if you progress through the turns. Battle shock units have an OC of 0. Next, to see which objectives you control. If you control an objective, if you have a higher OC than your opponent, and then you score points as directed by the mission. And you go through the Tyranids move phase, Tyranids shoot phase, the Tyranids charge phase, remembering that command reroll if you need it, because that's where you'll use it most, especially for the Tyranids. And then you work through the Tyranids fight phase. If you haven't got into combat, then you skip the fight phase and charge phase. So here's how they give you an example move and shoot. So Tyranids going first. They have deployed what looks to be the Von Rheinsleepers down here. The Termagaunts right back on objective 4, which you would expect anyway. And the Termagaunts above them. It also looks like the Wing Prime is in reserve. He's not deployed on the board for some reason. So the Wing Prime is in reserve. So what they've done is they've moved the Von Rheinsleepers up into the mid-board to take objective 3. They've kept the Termagaunts on objective 4. And they've moved the Termagaunts up to the other side of the cover to come and try and help out with the Psychophage. Now, they do get to shoot at the Inverness Marines from that range, and with a 24-inch range, they get to shoot the Terminators, which, obviously, if they do cause damage from the Termagaunts, will reduce the Terminators' movement and charge range by quite a lot. Okay, an example of a charge and fight. Having softened up the Space Marines with some shooting attacks, the Tyranids close in. The Tyranid player chooses to hold back the Von Rheinsleepers, waiting to countercharge any Space Marine units that join the battle for the center and holding the objective. In combat, the Psychophage inflicts 4 wounds on the Librarian, but suffers 2 wounds in return. It remains to see who will win. So they will stay locked in combat until the next player's turn. Good morning, Joey. Good morning. Happy New Year. And you're in New Orleans. Why are you in New Orleans today? And that's a bit of a big, yeah. That's not where you live. You live like 4 countries away, or 4 European countries. So once you finish the Space Marine turn, sorry for brief interruption. Once you finish the Tyranid's turn, it then moves on to the Space Marine's turn. So first of all, again, both players generate a command point again at the start of this turn. Any battle shock tests, because your Space Marines you may have took casualties. So your Inverness Marines may need a battle shock test. Your Terminator, they may need a battle shock test. Good morning, Lee. You are not in New Orleans. All right. What? Oh dear, that's terrible, Joey. That is terrible. I didn't know about that. I mean, we had one over here recently we had one in Germany, and we had another attack in the Christmas markets. But somebody in New Orleans driving through Bourbon Street in a car deserves everything that person is going to be getting, or got before the police arrived. Let us know that she's okay. Please, Twisted. We'll give us an update, even if it's just through Discord. Just let us know. Okay, now I'm going to have to try and bring it back from this has just happened in New Orleans. Now I've got to start talking about a fictional game. So it's got to be a hard segue, isn't it? Space Marine's movement for... Do it really have to be movement next? Okay, so make normal moves, advance and fallbacks for your units once you've moved all your units or opted for them to remain stationary. If it is your second turn or later, you may deep strike with Marine Terminators. To do so, you place them on the battlefield anywhere more than 9 inches away from the unit. Check the spots where you can deep strike the Terminators carefully before you commit to them to the battle. It's best to deep strike early on. Remember that you can use command rerolls to help the Terminators charge later. Then make Terminators shoot, charge, and then fight. So the Space Marines' retaliation against the Tyranids. The Space Marine player decides to fall back with the librarian, which moves up there, saving them from another grueling round of combat with the psychophage. They move forward with the Terminators. While this unit is slow, once they are in position, they will be very hard for the Tyranid player to shift. So because they've moved everything off the objectives, they've moved the Infernus Marines up and the Terminators up and pushed the Librarian further that way. Now, going off this layout, now where I can see properly, the Space Marine Captain is also deep striking in. So both sides have a deep striking unit. Tyranid Prime for the Tyranids and the Captain in Terminator armor for the Space Marines. So he's moved the Infernus Marines up to face the Termagaunts, and he's moved the Terminators up to get a line of sight in on the Psychophage. So both shoot. In this case, the Infernus Marines happen to take out 2, 4, 6 of the 10 Termagaunts, which is well over half the unit. The Terminators attempt their charge. I'm going to say they had to use their command reroll to get there because that's quite a distance. And once they've charged in to fight the Psychophage, the Space Marines advance steadily using command reroll. They are able to successfully charge with Terminators in the ensuing combat. The unit manages to inflict 4 more wounds on the Psychophage. However, the Psychophage manages to destroy 1 Terminator when it attacks back, slaying the Librarian and 1 of the Terminators. Ooh. The Tyranids are in a good position for the next turn. Okay, he tells us now to play on. After every eligible unit has fought, return to the Tyranid turn. Keep on playing through the Space Marines and Tyranids turns for 4 rounds. The winner is the player with the most victory points by the end of all 4 rounds. Now, before I jump onto the inside of the last page, I'm just going to look at the very back page to tell us what's going to come in the next 2 issues. We kind of know already. Good afternoon, Lee. It's 1:10. I've completely forgotten what time it is. You having an English breakfast at this time? It's a bit late, isn't it? Well, you can probably just have it for you. Any meal is good for any meal. So before I come on the inside, which is actually going to tell us what we'll be getting after the Tyranids and the Space Marines, I'm going to go through the next 2 issues and then I'll flip back in because that looks interesting. So just go check on them, Twisted. Go check. Don't worry about this stream. Go check on your missus. You know, catch the last bit of it and Dad just asked me what happened. So in next issue, which is issue 18, we'll be getting the rest of the Termagaunts along with the bases. We'll also cover how to paint your Termagaunts, the successor chapters, which are the ones that are split off from the main legions, and field Termagant horde. So I'm going to guess he's going to let us field full 20 Termagants this time. Oh, excellent. So she's good. That's the main thing. That's what I wanted to hear. A little bit of a panic there. Issue 19, we will be getting the Parasite of Martrex, which does not come in any of the combat patrols, did not come in the Leviathan box set. You will need glue to do that model. In issue 19, also it'll cover Tyranid Vanguard Beasts, which we have a lot of at this point. We have Von Miners Leapers, and we have the Parasite of Martrex. So we have quite a few to jump forward. One moment. There we go. Number 3. I have to wait for all 3. Don't ask me why these 3. But there is. I usually sneeze 3 times. So when we get the Parasite of Martrex, we will also find out about the Tyranid Vanguard Beasts, the Great Crusade, which is what the Imperium of Man did or called it when they tried to expand and take over the galaxy. Thank you, Ali. And it will also cover a unique Space Marine chapter, which is the Silver Templars. Now, they are unique because they are Hachette Partworks chapter. They're the one they were allowed to create to run for this magazine. I do have the original How to Paint Silver Templars guidebook in the cupboard somewhere that you got as an extra with the first Warhammer 40,000 Partworks that Hachette ran. I don't intend to be using it, but it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? So that will finish up the Tyranids. That's the last Tyranid model we will receive after Parasite of Martrex, issue 20. We know it is this little chappy, the chaplain on the bike. He'll be issue 20, and after that, that is all the Space Marines and all the Tyranids done. So once we finish with the Space Marines and Tyranids, Elsie, Lewis, how are you? Happy New Year. Thank you for coming to join us. Thank you. You've come towards the end of the stream, but that is, I'm sorry. I'll go on for a bit longer. Anyway. So the next two we will be getting are the Eldari and the Chaos Space Marines. And it's actually showing us here what we will be getting. So if I can actually get it reasonably well. With the Eldari, we will be getting a Wraith Ward, 6 Wind Riders, a unit of 5 Wraith, either Guard or Blade. As far as I'm aware, they've never come as a easy build kit. They are a full kit, so you will get the options to run them as either Wraith Guard with the guns or Wraith Blade with the choppy. It's entirely up to you which way you run them. There is a Farseer, which is your basic HQ unit. And there is a unit of 10 Guardians with a heavy weapons platform. So they're giving you a HQ, a troop, a fast, an elite, and a heavy. So one of every choice for the Eldar, which is quite nice. With the... Ooh, are we getting roughly the same here with the Chaos? We are getting roughly the same with the Chaos. We are getting a HQ unit, which is an Apostle, I believe, because he comes with 2 little dudes that help him out. And that's the Apostle, as far as I can tell. We get a full 10-man Legionnaire squad, which is standard Chaos Space Marines. We get a 5-man Havoc squad, which is the heavy weapons teams. So they'll have missile launchers, autocannons, las cannons, heavy bolters. They'll have a selection of heavy weapons for you to supply them with. So that'll be nice, actually, heavy weapons. So we've got a HQ, a battle line, and a heavy so far. A 5-man Terminator squad, Chaos Terminators. They will look quite a lot different, apart from like show a few base things that are the same. Because it is the base armor of Terminator armor, but it's got lots of spikes on it, lots more skulls, tusks, and all sorts. So there's going to be a lot more detail into those 5. So we don't get a fast with the Chaos. We end up with a Hellbrute instead, which is the Chaos Dreadnought. So no fast attacks for the Chaos, but we do end up with 2 elite choices, which are the Terminators and the Dreadnought. 1 heavy, 1 battle line, 1 HQ. We will also getting another new playmat to make it bigger and give us a larger area to play with. So as they describe the Eldari, or Space Elves, as they were once called, Eldari wield powerful psychic abilities and esoteric technology with graceful and arrogant Eldari. Harness the terrifying power of the dark gods with the traitorous Chaos Space Marines. So that's a quick, brief description of them. Buzz, good morning, mate. Happy New Year. Glad you could come in. I hope you're doing well. I hope you weren't too drunk last night. Not that it matters, really. Don't suppose you've got anything to do today. So when he gives us the next battlefield, he's going to double the size. So we already have 1 of these mats. Or in my case, I have 4 of them mats. But he's going to give us another one. So I'm going to have 5. But the intention there is to put them together so you can have larger battles. So 3 more issues, and then we're done with the collecting Tyranids and Space Marines from this magazine. I still have a lot to paint of them all. I still have the Termagants to paint. I have Termagaunts, I have Von Rhein's Leapers, and I have pretty much everything so far to paint, mainly because I've already got it painted elsewhere, so I've not been in as much of a rush. Maybe I should actually get all the rest of my Tyranids and Space Marines finished, so then I can move on to the Eldar and Chaos when they start coming out. It's going to be a good idea, I think. So have a quick backtrack on track while I'm here. Oh, that is really good to hear. So everyone was safe and sound at home, Twisted. No one was there when that happened. They'd all decide, we're going home. We're tired. We're not teenagers no more. We're not doing this 3 a.m. business. 9 o'clock bed, cocoa, done. My type of people. I mean, if they are literally just blocks from there, that's a very fortunate thing that they decided to go home early. So that is Combat Patrol issue 17 done. So just to reiterate, if you've opened it and you've only spotted 2 sprues, don't panic like I did last time. We will be getting the other sprue and the bases in the next issue. I'm not that daft now. I've remembered this time. I remembered units of 10 come over 2 issues and you get the bases in the second one. Remember this. Oh, wow. It was that close that they heard everything. Oh, that's too close for comfort is what that is. That is definitely too close for comfort. So it's not a bad issue if you want lore this time. It is mostly lore. So again, it does tell you how to build your Termagants and Rippers. So we'll need to keep this issue for next week. 5 sections of lore. And then how to use command points and a quick battle demo so you can get a chance to use them. Not a bad issue at all. For $9.99, worth it because of the base Termagants that you're going to get. If you're collecting Tyranids, Termagants for £20 is cheaper than the box set. Okay, you don't get the full weapon ranges, but models on table, boots on ground, if you're playing with friends and you're playing at local clubs and not playing tournaments, they might not be too bothered about WYSIWYG as long as you can mark the unit properly to say that this is the one that's got the extra heavy cannon, this is the one that's got the extra heavy gun. So it's not bad at all value for money. $19.98 for 10 Termagants and the Ripper Swamp base. The Parasite of Mortrex, though, is going to be an absolute bargain. It itself, when it comes out, let me just try and find it. I've gone to YouTube for some reason instead of Games Workshop. Let's go to Games Workshop. Warhammer 40,000, Xenos Armies, Tyranids. So a Parasite of Mortrex, that one model, is £26 from the Games Workshop website. It will be $9.99 with that issue. And you will get the exact same model. I am looking at the picture at the moment. They have taken, that picture is the picture from Games Workshop's website. So £26 model for £10, bargain. The same is going to be said for this one. So when issue 20 finally does come out, if I can, nope, it's going to be funny on me and make me go all the way back through. My computer doesn't like me sometimes. Space Marines. Who's going to be most likely to want this one? White Sky should throw bike stuff quite high, shouldn't they? Come on, Chaplin on a bike. That's my other favourite model from this new section. Now, this is one of them, but I do like the Librarian Phobos armor as well. That's probably my favourite model out of all the newer ones. Where's the Chaplain on a bike? I know the Terminator Chaplain's like $27.50. Okay, why under White Scars, which are the bike riding, we want to look like the Mongols riding horses, take that style of fighting. They're the ones based around that. Why have they not got the only HQ that is on a bike? That doesn't make sense. I mean, the White Scars love running bikes. That's what they want to do. Run bikes, more bikes. You have one commander unit, which is Chaplain on a bike, that can lead the bike units, and they don't have it in the White Scars section. That's just ridiculous. So now I'm going to have to look through all 203 models. There we go. Wow. Okay. That is a big difference. Is Ali leaving? Stay safe, Ali, and have a good fun day. See you later. Thank you for calling in. Sorry, I was on a different page. I didn't quite see you say bye, but hopefully I've caught you in time. So while I was looking for this said Chaplain and bike, which is issue 20, from Games Workshop, it's £34. Issue 20 is going to cost you $9.99. That is an absolute bargain of a price. Now, with that, you're going to have to watch out for scalpers if you do want this model, because there will be a lot of people looking for this so they can sell it for a profit on eBay. If you sell it for £15, you're still selling it for half the price of Games Workshop and making yourself a profit. So be careful with this one. If you really want this model, make sure you get out early or that you are subscribed. However, there's no way I've done this entire magazine in under an hour. Not a chance. Have I? He's saying I've done it in 50 minutes. Okay. Well, I've been from the front. I managed to get all the way to the back. I've told us what we're going to be getting in the next two armies, including the unit breakdown. I've ran through them. I don't think there's much more I could do out of this apart from make you all wait while I set up a table, which I don't think you want to do. So that being said, yeah, I believe this is it for today. Thank you all for watching me cover these Combat Patrol magazines. I'm glad I managed to actually get it on the day it's supposed to be released, even though it's a bank holiday over here in England and most of the UK for that matter, as far as I'm aware. So next week, yes, it's the Parasite of Mortrex. Then it's the Chaplain on a bike. After that, we get to find out what's going to be either our first Eldar or our first Chaos model. I'm looking forward to that because that's two completely new armies. Well, I'll say completely new armies. I don't own many Eldar or many Chaos models. I think I've got about 10 of each in total and they've not been put together and painted as a cohesive unit. So this is going to be fun to actually have a small combat patrol of one little army. I'm looking forward to it. But until that happens, we're going to have to continue with issues 18, 19, and 20, which will continue off with the two armies that we've been doing. And on Mondays, I will be continuing the models and musings back with the bear, I believe. I've been given a few little tips, like I need more red in there, and in fact, where have I put Mr. Beary Bear? There he is. So I will be continuing. Well, my friend is considering selling his Eldar. He does also have another Wraith Lord, about another 6 bikes, another 6 Wraith small constructs, some Dark Reapers, some Howling Banshees, some Guardians. He's also got the Triumvirate of Innate. So that's a nice little set of models that I don't particularly, I'm not overly, shall we say, enthused to paint because they are that very, very, very silly fine cast stuff that just crumbles. But it could be interesting if I get a chance to get those. That will definitely boost my Eldar army up. I am going to consider just turning my entire Chaos Force into a Khorne force, so I can stick it all with the Berserkers and just make one larger Khorne force, should I say. So I probably won't be painting the Chaos Space Marines till right near the end of the run when they're all going to be done red. Speaking of red, apparently that is what this chappie is missing. Is a lot of red to... He looks more like fire than lava at the moment, I've been told. Which is not a bad thing. I did want it to look hot and heated, but I wanted it to look lava. So it'll be red coming on the model I'm using and trying to sort Mr. Big Bear out. But until Monday next week, which is when I will be doing that, and then the following Wednesday after, which is when I will be covering the second half of the Termagaunts, I will see you then. Please enjoy the start of this new year. Hopefully it's a good one for everyone, and I will see you later. Drive safe.